Hello, everyone. I'm here with Tom Christopher, founder and CEO of the Christopher Group. Tom, thanks so much for being here today. We will be discussing what you state is the calm before the HR storm. Now, this is a very provocative statement. What are you hearing in the marketplace that suggests this is the calm before the storm, since we are in what people think is the middle of it?
Well, thanks, Laura. It's an honor again to speak with you. We're very, very excited to be doing these podcasts twice a week. We're getting a tremendous outcry for information from our clients. What are other shops doing? What are the best shops doing? What are the success stories? You know, how are people reacting to COVID-19? And so every week, twice a week, we're compiling all of these stories, all of these best practices, and we're going to share them via podcast to the extent they can be useful to other HR practitioners nationwide. So to your question, provocative, absolutely. Over the last 7 days, I've spent quite a bit of time, as has my staff, working with many HR leaders across the United States, across many different verticals. And one theme that we're hearing over and over and over again is, hey folks, this is the calm before the storm. And when I first heard it said that way, I kind of laughed. I said, the calm before the storm, like you think this thing's going to get worse? They said, no, actually, we think this is going to go away. And when it does, it's going to be a storm for HR. Think about the implications. We have seen a complete halt to production and consumption in the United States. 3.2 million unemployment claims. It's estimated this week there'll be another 4 to 5, so just massive unemployment. And production and consumption has come to just a screeching halt. At the same time, the pandemic has reached global proportions and is in over 150 countries, but it's following a curve. It goes up, it crests, and then it comes down. And it's clearly going to happen in the United States. As one CHRO said to me last week, Tom, we know it'll get worse before it gets better. We know it's going to get better. And when it does, the demand for HR services internally is going to go through the roof. So, long way around the barn, our best clients are looking past the horizon, and they're now starting to think about what happens after May 1st or June 1st, after this subsides and we get the all-clear siren, and businesses, as rapidly as they rush to shut down and furlough, come back and say, okay, bring everybody back to work, fire this economic engine up, and let's run. And what are the HR implications of that? It's really daunting when you stop and think about it. But again, our best clients, that's what they're thinking about now.
Mm-hmm. So what are you seeing these companies do to prepare for this talent tsunami?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, I love hockey, and as the great one said, Wayne Gretzky, you always skate to where the puck's going to be, not to where it is. And so again, we're seeing more and more clients saying, okay, let's think about life after this tsunami. It didn't follow the conventional path of a gradual decline, recession, a gradual incline and expansion and growth, but rather this was like a natural disaster. It was a precipitous and decisive shut everything down, and we believe, and our clients believe, and the CHROs that we're talking to believe it's going to be a rather precipitous start back up. And so we're seeing clients not lay people off, but furlough. And more than wordsmithing, there's a very, very different connotation. When you lay somebody off, as you know, it's, hey, listen, you're going away, and I don't know if you're ever going to come back. And if you do, I can't guarantee the job or the money or the title or even the location. Furlough is, I'm sending you off, but I have a clear intention of bringing you back. And if I bring you back, it'll be in the same job, the same title, the same money, the same location. And so more and more of our clients are calling it furlough, not a layoff, because there's a clear expectation they're bringing them back. The big concern that HR departments are having, and I can't emphasize this enough, in a traditional layoff, when you call people back, it is customary that 8 to 9% of the folks will not come back, because during the layoff, they've vectored into new jobs, new industries, or retraining. I have seen reports that say as high as 18 or 19% of the people who are furloughed may not be coming back. Why? Because we have a $2.2 trillion stimulus package, and if you get into the language, there's a lot of opportunity for people to pivot. So all those workers that were out there saying, you know, I've been thinking about going back to school. I've been thinking about retiring. I've been thinking about going into a different industry or vertical. Or I don't like the volatility of this industry or vertical, i.e. retail or hospitality. If they've got the government subsidy, it can be enough to support them to make that pivot. Several HR executives I have spoken with in the last week have said this is their biggest fear. When they start to model the ramp up and then they factor in an 8 to 18% attrition rate because of the furlough, they're looking at significant shortages. And as one HR executive said, he goes, Tom, we were understaffed going into this thing. He goes, this engine comes back as strongly as it was turned off, and we have an 8 to 18% reduction in our workforce voluntarily. He goes, we're going to be in big trouble. So long way around the barn, companies are planning ahead, they're workforce modeling, and they're itemizing jobs where they think they have the most risk. We're also seeing the introduction and use of attitudinal surveys, pulse surveys of furloughed employees to say, how are you feeling? How is your family doing? How do you feel about returning to work? What is your intentions of returning to work? So they can more accurately plan and predict. And the attitudinal and engagement surveys, or pulse, is becoming more and more prevalent in these down times. A lot of HR executives just sit and think, well, when we go to call these people, they're going to come back. But the far more progressive HR shops are realizing it may not be that simple. And there is considerable risk if you just simply think the phone call or the letter to come back to work is going to immediately result in the same staffing model that you had the day you turned the plant off. So just some things that we're seeing in the marketplace, very interesting.
Mm-hmm. Is it true that many of our clients are prioritizing those critical and hard-to-fill roles to fill now in anticipation of the immobilization of talent?
Yeah, there's what we call a stacking that's going on. So traditionally, in a gradual decline, recession, and then expansion, and then peak that you see with your normal economic cycles, the age-old model of natural attrition, so as people would quit or retire, you just wouldn't backfill them, and or in some cases hiring freezes. Those are the traditional HR workforce planning models that we've all seen and all grew up with. But today, because this thing happens so quickly, and the better HR shops that are looking at this going, look, this thing's going to turn right back on, and when it does, we don't want to get caught with our pants down. We don't want to have to be sitting there talking with our clients, because as we all know, you can't talk to a client about strategic HR when their jobs aren't filled. We all know, when there's openings, that's all the clients want to talk about. It's, what are you doing to get my jobs filled? Because I can't hit my goals and objectives without the team. So what we're seeing now is a new concept, well, I guess it's new, called stacking, where clients are saying, okay, let's put our openings today into tiers. High, medium, and hold. Not low, but hold. And high is, let's look at every job in our company that is a very high priority. It's probably 60 to 90 days to fill it, even if we launch the search for it today. But we know we're going to need it. And let's get out there and start recruiting for it. And even if we have a delayed start date, even if this thing stretches into June, we can push the start dates out in the offer letters. But you know what? We know we're going to need them. They're hard to come by, and so let's not wait. And those are high priorities, and those searches are launching, and they're ongoing. Medium searches are things that can be spaced out to the middle or end of summer. They're important roles, but they're not necessarily mission critical. And then there's the bottom third, which is not low priority, it's hold. These are positions we're going to put on a permanent hold, and we'll see as business recovers whether or not we want to unhold those. But they're less important, or maybe we've got good backup. So stacking versus the traditional freeze everything is becoming a far more prolific and used workforce planning tool.
Mm-hmm. So with all that being said, what innovative things is TCG doing now to help and solution solve for our clients?
Yeah, it's a great question. We're actually very, very busy. First of all, on the contained search side, clients, as I pointed to in the last call, one of my clients said to me, he goes, Tom, are you buying securities? I said, as a matter of fact, I am buying stocks. He goes, so am I. And I'm also buying talent. Again, and he said it better than I ever could have. He goes, you know, it's funny. 60 days ago, every HR leader in the U.S. was probably getting 5, 6, 7 calls a week. And they'd collected their bonuses, and if they were interested in making a change, they were probably in 4, 5, 6 unique and different interviewing processes with different future employers. He goes, today, nobody's phone's ringing. He goes, my phone hasn't rung in 11 days. And he goes, so, and oh, by the way, if they were in processes, probably the majority, if not all of them, have been stopped because people can't do face-to-face interviews. So he goes, what I've decided is I'm going to use this as a great opportunity to go scoop up good talent that 60 days ago I would have been fighting and competing over with 4 or 5 or 6 other companies. But today, I'm the only guy out buying. So I have clients that they're starting searches. And the way they're handling the video or the interviews is they're doing it all video. Very progressive shops are saying, hey, listen, it's not ideal, but if we find the right talent, we'll do all the interviews by video, we'll make the offer by video, and we'll start the worker remotely, and then once we have the all clear, we'll bring them into work physically. And I have more and more clients doing that. Of course, our interim product is just surging. A lot of clients are coming to us saying, hey, listen, I need somebody, but I'm only going to need them on a temporary basis for 3 months, 6 months, or 9 months to get me through this storm, to finish this project, to man this opening that maybe I can't fill with a permanent headcount, but I can certainly use an interim or a temp HR leader. And so we're placing people at the manager, director, and vice president level in all verticals, compensation, benefits, talent management, generalists, et cetera. So the interim HR leader product is just surging. And then finally, Freelance Consultants is just continuing to be a star for us. As one of my dear, dear friends and former HR partner said to me the other day, he goes, you know, the last thing I want to be doing right now is spending a ton of money on the Deloittes and Accentures and Towers Watsons. He goes, I can go through you. I can get a far heavier consultant at half the price of what I pay these guys. And so we're busy, very busy, as clients are seizing this opportunity, and I think that's the critical thing that I would point to is there's some clients are certainly, you know, shrinking into the hole and saying, okay, I'm gonna wait to see how this plays out. But I would tell you an equal, if not larger number, are saying, hey, this is a great opportunity to take advantage of this marketplace and think ahead and proactively secure talent that 60 days ago and maybe 60 days in the future would be a lot harder to get. So we're there to assist and help with that.
Great. Well, thank you so much again, Tom, for being here today. We look forward to continuing these podcasts to stay up to date with everything that's going on.
Thank you, Laura. And please, everyone be safe, and God bless. Look forward to chatting on our next podcast.